Hello YouTube, Marauders here, and today I'm just gonna show some samples of the 3D printed results from the UP Mini printer. So here I have a gear that someone asked me to try and do a test print of. Now for some sample sake, I printed it vertically to show a point. So the orientation is vertically oriented, and here's the results. Here are the results, and of course you might see that hey, actually it doesn't look anything like the thing in the computer. That's because 3D printers print by layers, so they print it from the bottom up. And of course, notice that this is a giant donut shape like this. So obviously, in order to support the material of the curve on top, the UP Mini will actually print out a support raft. So it's all this middle layer here to support the material as it goes up, so that when it reaches that point, it can actually print out that layer properly. So what we have to do now after we finish printing is that we have to chisel out all these support materials so that we can actually get the actual model. Okay, so now I'm gonna do my best to try and do this live on tape. So first of all, there's a base that is printed on a base, so I could use a spatula to rake it off, but because I've used this board quite a few times, it should actually be quite easy to remove. Okay, so now I've taken it off from the printing base that we printed on, and okay, then I'll just snap off the bottom edges. You really need to know you get a feel for how to do this after a while, and of course you need to know which of the part is your support and which is your actual model. The supports are definitely printed as more lightweight material, but it does help a lot if you actually know which is your model and which is your support. It can get pretty confusing, obviously. Now let me just try and get this one off. This is one of the more complicated things I've printed so far, so maybe we do need to get this to clear the base. Now you're wondering, why didn't I just print this flat so I didn't need to have so much support struts? Well, it's just for the purpose of an example, so you can see how exactly does everything work. So it's gonna take a while. Guess I'll try and aim the camera there so that I can get a view of it. Okay, I've more or less gotten most of the base out. The interesting thing is, of course, because this is not something that I actually made, so I'm not perfectly clear on which part is the support strut and which part is the actual model, so bear with me a bit here. So take out the middle part. Have to be aware that there is actually a middle hole, a peg in the middle, which I have to remove carefully. Now this is a perfectly good example of why I did mention to some of my friends when they inquired about the 3D printer is that 3D printing isn't ready for a normal consumer yet. Oh! And I actually snapped it. This is because I printed the gear on I printed it with a thinner material, so that's why so that's why it's not as tough as it is. So yeah, it's one of the things that can happen. So that's, again, it's ironic that it comes at just as I was saying that 3D printing isn't for end user use yet. So because there are lots of variables there are lots of variables like this that come into play that you need to know exactly how to handle it or whatnot. For example, knowing how strong to print something, and of course having the patience and time to slowly remove out all the support gunk without actually damaging the model, and of course printing the model with the appropriate hardness so that you don't actually snap it when you're trying to remove all these. It's still a lot of work that needs to be done. It's definitely not. Well, to the guy who provided me this model, sorry you had to do. I was hoping I wouldn't get any problems when removing the strut, but since we were printing a sample, I decided not to. I guess I'm regretting the decision now. I printed it as with the rigidness. I can define the model's rigidness, so I pretty much use the almost minimum setting so that I could quickly churn out the printed model. But of course I totally miscalculated the fact that the amount of support material that will be generated and how much the problem would occur when I'm trying to remove the support material. So I totally miscalculated that, and this is definitely one of the things that if you are doing 3D printing you would learn about this. It's something that you have to experience. Now I'm trying to just cut off some of the gears here. Whew. Oh, yep, things coming apart. I definitely didn't make a good choice with the solidity setting. I made a very bad choice, and of course the way I printed it being vertical, this really wasn't done properly. This was a mistake. So again, this is a very good example of why 3D printing isn't ready for prime time yet. There's a lot of things, there really is a lot of things that you have to be aware of, and well, complexity of the rafts and the support is really just one of the many things. Gah, okay, this isn't turning out too well. So you can see that there's part of the gear here from when I cut out the support. So I'm gonna just try and yeah, the support is in very thick. Definitely made a bad choice when doing the print. So me and my bad decision on, well, two bad decisions. One is I printed it with a lower density. The other is I printed it vertical just to see how the printer would handle it. Well, the printer handled it alright. It's just that removing all these support struts is going to be a very harrowing experience. So I'm going to try my best to at least expose a selection of the gear. The funny thing is, of course, the time it's taking to remove all this. It'll probably take to remove all this on a properly printed model might almost take the time it took to print this. Printing this took about I think it took about an hour. But again, remember that this is because I use the non-solid fill. And I printed it vertically. It might have been faster if I printed it sleeping down so that it didn't need to generate that many supports. But yeah. Okay. So I at least got a section of the gear loose. Yep, messy. Now to help with the person who gave me the model, so I will help him do a simple measurement. So the teeth is about teeth is about 2 millimeters. and this thing is about 4 or 5. I'm sorry, I really don't know whether that's the right way to measure this, but this is about 4.5, and the height of a tooth is about 5.8 millimeters. Okay, I shouldn't get it. Okay. Okay, so the first model was a bust. I'm sorry. Let me throw this into the recycling pile, and we'll deal with the second model.